All right, we're going to kick it off back into Bleacher Report in the NBA. Pretty much we got Greg Swartz over here, article writer, and basically this is going to be over one offseason trade idea for every NBA team. Currently, right now, where we're at in the NBA, the second round, the semis, both in the Eastern Western Conference, we've kind of seeing a shape up of who could be in the Final Four. As of right now, the Clippers are up 2-1 against the Denver Nuggets. The Los Angeles Lakers are tied 1-1 with the Houston Rockets. And then to the Eastern Conference side, the Milwaukee Bucks is injured with their star player with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Heat are up 3-1 in that series, and then we're looking off into the Boston Celtics, who are up 3-2 against the Toronto Raptors. So usually with everyone's predictions, kind of swaying off in the Eastern Conference, but this is going to be very interesting how things kind of play out within both series. So we're going to kick it off with Mr. Schwartz over here and see how this kind of ends off. All right, we're going to kick it off with the first team he has in mind here, which is going to be with the Atlanta Hawks. Kind of giving on my take of things before we kind of jump into here. With the Atlanta Hawks, they're in an interesting position with Trae Young as being their star player. I expect them to fight to make a playoff seed. For 2021, the Eastern Conference is very wide open. Usually in the last 7th and 8th seed, usually it's always open for the past couple of years. Usually have teams with losing records kind of jump into there. With Atlanta, they're going to need another score alongside with Trae Young. I think if we're looking at trades and not free agency signings, I think an ideal fit with him would be for Buddy Hield. I know on defensively that's not the most ideal pairing, but offensively, I can see Buddy Hield being paired with Trae Young. But aside from that, I don't really see a key factor that they can fill in for this season. I think they should look into 2021 free agency to pair off. But let's see here for a trade. So he's got with the Atlanta Hawks are going to receive the 2020 number 1 overall pick. Okay. And Minnesota will receive the 6th pick in DeAndre Hunter. No, sir. This is definitely not happening. The Minnesota Timberwolves would be on crack if they were to trade for DeAndre Hunter, who pretty much for his first season was subpar. And to receive a 6th pick, that is an asinine pick. Trying to think within here. So they want to pair him with Anthony Edwards. Yeah, that trade is never going through, not even on 2K. That's crazy to start it up. The Boston Celtics for a trade. I think they're probably going to lose Gordon Hayward in free agency. I think a team like Indiana could pretty much give them around $15-20 million a year. I think Boston may go a new direction. Even though they're beating the Toronto Raptors in the second round, they don't even have a Gordon Hayward, so they can use that money elsewhere. If they're looking for a trade, I think they may want to go for another big man. Daniel Tice is a good big, but I think they may go the direction of in the open market for a very underrated center such as Steven Adams. I think they could be able to make a trade for him. Besides from that, I don't really see anything crazy Boston needs to do. They already have their core of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, and then Marcus Smart off the bench. Everyone else just has to be filler players. But I think you can snag up a Steven Adams ever since if Gordon Hayward's going to leave, since he has $25 million off the table, you can make a trade for Steven Adams to fill that in. Let's see what they have here. So Boston will receive Jarrett Allen. They're going to give away Robert Williams, Carson Edwards, and their 2021 first-round pick. Listen, the Brooklyn Nets, they're not going to trade away Jarrett Allen for those petty pieces when you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant being paired within 2021. That's not the case at all. I like the idea of going young with Jarrett Allen. I don't really know. You really don't have any trade baits to send over to Brooklyn. Maybe a Marcus Smart, but that doesn't make sense because he's the culture player. I think they can really go for Steven Adams with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Going with the Brooklyn Nets right here. Listen, you got Kyrie, you got Kevin Durant, you just hired Steve Nash as your head coach. Now you need a third star or another role player to pair off with that team. I think personally with the Brooklyn Nets, you can go direction of a LaMarcus Aldridge as one of your third options on the team. They don't need any guards, and they really don't need any forwards. You can put LaMarcus Aldridge as your power forward slot or center at any time. I think if you move him to the 4, have DeAndre Jordan at the 5, that'll be an ideal front court. I think if you make a trade for LaMarcus Aldridge, he has 1 year left on his deal in San Antonio. He's trying to bounce. I think that's a perfect contending role for him as the third option in his career and going to the Brooklyn Nets off in the Eastern Conference. I can't get into the nitty and gritty of what trade pieces will have to be. You may have to throw in Jarrett Allen and maybe like a Karis LeVert or a Jarrett Allen and maybe a Spencer Dinwiddie in a pick. But San Antonio would take that. Let's see. So Brooklyn Nets are going to receive a power forward. I don't think it said the name here. Blake Griffin. Okay. So the Brooklyn Nets are going to receive Blake Griffin, and they would give away Spencer Dinwiddie, Taurean Prince, and Garrett Temple. I never really thought about this. This could be ideal, especially for the Detroit Pistons. They're trying to blow things up. Kind of expect Dwayne Casey probably to get fired, and they're going to let go of Derrick Rose. But yeah, I could see this happening. Either Brooklyn goes for LaMarcus Aldridge. I think that's more ideal. They go with Blake Griffin. He's injury prone. He's doesn't really flow with those other cats. But Detroit would not take this. Only for Spencer Dinwiddie. You probably need a pick or two. A first round, probably a second round, then maybe one other young cat. But I never really thought about that. I mean, Blake Griffin could go to Brooklyn, but I think LaMarcus Aldridge is more ideal. All right, we got the Charlotte Hornets. Listen, they're going to have the third pick. They're most likely going to take LaMelo Ball. If they're going to make a trade, I mean, I kind of see it like this. You can't really make any big trades with the Hornets. You got Devontae Graham and you got Terry Rozier. One of those guys is going to have to come off the bench. They're going to draft LaMelo Ball as their point guard. I think with all the cap space they have in free agency, most likely they can probably pick up like a Montrezl Harrell. Not anyone big, really, for their team. For a trade, I mean, I can't really think of anything crazy. The Hornets are still not going to make the playoffs. I don't know. Let's see what they got here. So they said they're going to receive 2020, so the 21st pick, a second-round pick, and Zaire Smith, and they're going to give away Terry Rozier and Cody Zeller. No, I don't agree with that at all. You got to keep Terry Rozier back on the team for at least one more season. Same thing with Cody Zeller when it comes down to it. I just think if they get LaMelo Ball, they're pretty much set for their offseason. The Chicago Bulls, they got the 4th pick in the draft. Unfortunately, they're not going to get LaMelo Ball. I doubt the Hornets will pass on him. So with the Bulls, you're probably going to have to go with Obi Toppin as your power forward. Maybe you can slide him to the 3. They're in a weird position. They really need a true point guard on their franchise. Zach LaVine's getting aggravated, and plus they need to get a new head coach. If you're looking for a trade for the Chicago Bulls, you can probably – there's really nothing crazy out there in the market, especially for the Chicago Bulls team and system. I don't really know when it comes to them. I mean, you're not going to build a winning franchise off of Larry Markkinen and Zach LaVine. I just don't see it. I think Zach LaVine needs to bounce. But let's see what they got here. The Bulls will receive the number 1 pick in James Johnson. In return, they would give away the 4th pick, a second-round pick, Thaddeus Young, Chandler Hutchison, and Daniel Gafford. No. Why would the Minnesota Timberwolves ever make that trade? That makes no sense. I'm not even going to comment on that. The Cleveland Cavaliers, so they're going to have the 5th pick in the draft. I mean, they're in a weird position as well. They're not really going to do anything. They got to trade away Kevin Love. So basically, they should have traded away Kevin Love since 2016 after they won the championship. That's another subject for another day. And let alone when LeBron left, they should have traded away all the veterans and Kevin Love in 2019 or 2018 season to 2019. That wasn't the case. They're rebuilding with Darius Garland, who's been really iffy. They've had Colin Sexton. They're probably going to draft Obi Toppin. If not him, then one of the European cats. They re-signed Andre Drummond to 1 more year because he opted in because he wants to get paid the $30 million until he hits free agency 2021. Pretty much right now, you need to go for a true shooting guard and small forward. You got to let go of Kevin Love. Cleveland's in a weird spot. I think maybe you should trade for maybe Andrew Wiggins, but he's not going to do anything crazy for your franchise. They're just in a weird spot. So they said they're going to trade him to the Knicks for Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton. You can get something better for Kevin Love, but yeah, go ahead. I mean, Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton, I mean, they're young cats. that can be good for the organization. So, I mean, why not? The Dallas Mavericks. Oh, this is a good one. I think the Mavericks more in free agency. I think they can pick up like a Marcus Gasol, maybe a Serge Ibaka. You can probably bring in another wing like a Jonathan Simmons on the team. Try to think who else. But then again, they could save that money and try to go for Giannis in the 2021 free agency. But for a true trade for the Dallas Mavericks, they really don't need to make a trade necessarily. I think, if anything, if they can't get a Serge Ibaka or Marcus Gasol, you should probably make a trade for DeAndre Jordan. They need a true big on their team. I think if you slide KP to the 4, DeAndre to the 5, it can be a similar resemblance to the 2011 Dallas Mavericks championship run with Dirk and Tyson Chandler. But let's see who they got here. They're going to receive Patrick Beverley, trade away Maxi Kleber, DeLon Wright, and a second-round pick. Listen, I would love that for the Mavericks. Patrick Beverley was a free agent, and it was ideal for the Mavericks to pair him with Luka Doncic in the backcourt. He'll be the perfect fit for each other. But the Clippers, they're not going to make that trade. Patrick Beverley is part of the culture of that team, and they're not going to give away Patrick Beverley, especially for that trade offer. But that'll be an ideal fit for the Mavericks. If they can get a Patrick Beverley type player or a DeAndre Jordan, they're pretty much set. We got the Denver Nuggets coming into next. Right now, they're down 2-1 against the Los Angeles Clippers. I expect the Clippers to win that series in 5 or 6. Listen, you got the emergence of Michael Porter Jr. He's finally getting some valuable minutes and pretty much giving you 18 a game, hitting the three-point shot and defending very well. They got a good core of Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr., which is very ideal. If they're going to make any trades, you're probably going to have to let go of probably Gary Harris. I like how they have Jeremy Grant. They need to re-sign him. Nothing too crazy when it comes to them, just veteran presence. They're probably going to lose Paul Millsap in free agency. I think they're not going to pay him for around $15 million or more. I think they'll let him walk and try to go a different direction. Right now, on top of my head freestyling, I don't see a true player they can really trade for. I think in free agency, if you can find 3-and-D players, veteran presence, the Nuggets will just have to pretty much emerge in. They're young cats that need to get experience. But they said Derek White here, and pretty much for... Yeah, if you're the Spurs, you don't make that happen at all. I would like Derek White. He'll be a pretty good fit with the Nuggets. I mean, it is what it is. I don't have anything really else to say. I just think it's more on the emergence of those young cats. The Detroit Pistons, like I was saying before, they need to trade away Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose. They need to fire Dwayne Casey. They just need to rebuild. The Pistons have always been in a mess ever since they let their legendary team go. Let's see here. So they're going to get the 4th pick, trade away their 7th pick in Derrick Rose. The Chicago Bulls, I'm trying to think here real quick. If you're the Bulls, you may do that because in the 4th pick, you'll probably get Obi Toppin, and the Bulls pretty much want to they need a point guard, and they've been talks to Derrick Rose. I still doubt that they will do that because Obi Toppin would be better overall for the young direction. The Bulls are in a weird spot. I can't really comment too much on them. The Golden State Warriors, they're in a great position. They're going to have cap space to where they can be able to bring in some veteran players on their team. You finally got a healthy backcourt of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson with Draymond Green. You got Andrew Wiggins. They're going to experiment him at the 3. You're going to draft James Wiseman because they have the 2nd pick overall. They already got their core 5, starting 5 all on deck, which will be an electric top 3 team in the Western Conference. All you got to do is just bring in some veteran presence of just 3-and-D guys. Any trades particularly, I would probably look to trade that Andrew Wiggins roster, and you'd have to fill in a true small forward on their team. I think you can probably pull up a Tobias Harris, if anything. But listen, they're trying to get Giannis Antetokounmpo 2021. Everyone knows this. I know this. You know this. So they're going to play the next season as pretty much their same roster. I think they'll get 2nd round to a conference finals appearance at least, depending on barring any injury. But let's see what they got here. So if they give around a 2nd pick, they're going to get Dennis Smith Jr. and Taj Gibson. Listen, New York is so bad that they'll probably accept that. That's not bad getting Den Smith because he has a player with a lot of potential, but New York handled him terribly. And I could see him flourishing very well with the Golden State Warriors, so it's not bad right there. Taj Gibson, the Warriors don't need. He's not ideal for their team. It's really not crazy trades. Only Andrew Wiggins, but let's see how he plays the first couple games. We got the Houston Rockets with James Harden and the crew. Listen, I know him and Russell Westbrook, they're star players. Russell Westbrook's on the decline. Daryl Morey pretty much wants stars on the team. Russell Westbrook does not fit alongside James Harden. You can't have two guards together like that. James Harden needs a wing on his team. So you're going to have to make a trade for Russell Westbrook. That's what I think you need to do. Now, there's really no true player you can pair James Harden with because all these star players like Kawhi, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, they already signed long-term deals last free agency. So you're stuck in a position. I don't really know any other wings like that are pretty much star players. So you may have to run Russell Westbrook with James Harden for another year. They're going to receive Al Horford, give away Eric Gordon, Daniel House, Austin Rivers. No, sir. Listen, the Rockets are not going to eat up 3 more years of Al Horford on the team and give away their ideal role players of Gordon, House, and Austin Rivers. No, sir. That's not the case. Houston's, they're in a weird position. I think they need to let go of Westbrook when it comes down to ideal fit. But I really can't think of another player you can pair with James Harden that's not a wing. And they don't want to go big, so you can't get a power forward or center. So, I don't know. They're in a weird slot. Indiana Pacers. If they make a trade, probably make a trade for Gordon Hayward. They really are lacking. I mean, they have the emergence of TJ Warren, but you also may want to make a trade for one of their bigs in Miles Turner. He doesn't fit well with Sabonis. So you're probably going to have to get a big on the team. So let's see here. They're going to receive Buddy Hield. They're going to give away Victor Oladipo. I disagree with that. Oladipo, he just had surgery and injury, and he's been kind of hobbled coming back. But you don't receive Buddy Hield for him. You can make a trade for Victor Oladipo and Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner. I really can't think of a true player. I think if you bring a Gordon Hayward, he'll be ideally a fit for the Pacers. I think Victor Oladipo has all-star potential, so you want to keep him on the team. He's 28 years of age, and no free agent's really going to go to Indiana like that, so you got to roll with the team. The Clippers, I think you need to make a trade for another big on the team. Free agency, you can probably pick up a Marc Gasol on the low. But for a trade, I'm not sure. Let's see what they got here. They're going to receive Miles Turner. They're going to give away Zubac, Landry Shamet. Okay, this trade right here I can see this for both parties. If they receive Miles Turner, he can spread the floor for the team. They give away Zubac. The Pacers, he would fit ideally well in their starting lineup. And they get another shooter in Shamet, young cat. I can see this trade going down. This is not a bad pick at all. The Los Angeles Lakers, I think if they make a trade, you're going to have to go for a Chris Paul, especially if they win the championship or not. I don't know. I mean, the cap space is going to be crazy. It's going to be very tight. But the Lakers, they need a third option when it comes down to Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Here they say they're going to give away Danny Green, Kuzma, KCP to the Celtics for Gordon Hayward. If you're Boston, you're pretty much fine doing that because Gordon Hayward's going to cost too much. The Lakers, no. He's injury prone. He's around 31 years of age. I don't see him fitting on the team at all. The Memphis Grizzlies. Man, they're in a weird spot. I think you just need to build off of their young cat, Ja Morant. Trades, I can't really think of any on the spot. I'm trying to think of a young person who I mean, if you can go for I was trying to think of Karl Anthony Towns, but you don't really have enough pieces for that. Let's see here. Zach LaVine. You know what? This is not a bad pick at all. Zach LaVine, I was saying with the Bulls, he wants to he's looking to get out of there if they can't build anything around him. That can give a good pick with John Morant. I think you got to pair John Morant with a small forward, but I don't know. I think you got to give another season or two. Really nothing you can do on your side with the Grizzlies. All right, we got the Miami Heat, who's looking like they're going to take down the Bucks and go to the conference finals. You don't need to make any trades. I think you need to wait until free agency 2021 to pick up Giannis Antetokounmpo. If not him, you can pick up another star player. I think the team's fine where it's at. Pretty much want to bring the same players for next season. There was talks and rumors of possibly getting Joel Embiid on the team. I disagree because Bam Adebayo he's been amazing on their team. First time All-Star. He fits very well and ideal, only at 6'9". Joel Embiid has a star talent, a star player, but he doesn't fit well with the Miami Heat as they are. So I wouldn't make any changes, to be honest. With the Bucks, very interesting. I thought they'd make the finals. We'll see if they can overcome a 3-0 deficit. You got to make a trade for Chris Paul. If you have that one last season with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, let's see here with CJ McCollum. That's not bad as well. They're going to trade for Dimishvich, George Hill. Nah. The Portland Trailblazers would never take that trade. I think if you're the Bucks, you have to go for Chris Paul. He's around 36 years of age to be, and he's looking for a championship. Same thing with Giannis. I think you pair them together. The Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't want them to go with Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Lo and probably Anthony Edwards and try to build off there. The Western Conference is too stacked, and it's going to take too much time. I've done other videos going more in depth. I think they should probably trade away Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Lo. But, I had another video that I kind of went more in depth on that I'll include on the video below. I don't know. I don't really care for this. I'm glad they got the first pick. Kudos to them. But it is what it is. So they're going to give away, let's see here. So they're going to receive Larry Markkinen. Wow. No, sir. Larry Markkinen, who's had injuries, he would not fit well, and definitely not for the first pick. The New Orleans Pelicans. This is a good one. So you got Alonzo Ball on the team, you got Brandon Ingram, and you got a healthy Zion Williamson now. I think you need to fill out that shooting guard position and a center. I think they need to let go of Drew Holiday. If they let go of him, you have to bring in. I think you probably have to keep Jackson Hayes at your 5 now. He needs to gain around 15 pounds of muscle. But for a true shooting guard, you just need a catch and shoot guy, probably like a Josh Hart. But if you're going to trade with Drew Holiday, I really don't know exactly who they can get for him. You may have to trade up for probably like a top 10 pick in the draft. But let's see what they got here. Miles Turner and J.J. Redick and Josh Hart. I like the Pacers could do better on that trade for Miles Turner. But yeah, no, this would actually, that would actually be good to put Miles Turner at the starting 5. So yeah, if you're the Pelicans, look for that. Kind of go a little faster here because it's kind of taking a bit. We got the New York Knicks. I really got nothing for them. They got the 8th pick in the draft. They got a bunch of young cats with veterans. Tom Thibodeau. I have no idea. So they said they can receive the first pick. Okay, who do they give up? The 8th pick, a first-round pick, Franklin Attila and Taj Gibson. Listen, the Minnesota Timberwolves would be on crack if they did that. So this is terrible, of course. I've said this in the past. The Knicks, I have no idea what they got to do. They're not going to make the playoffs for another 4 seasons. It's wild. The Oklahoma City Thunder, what they got to do is they got to trade away Chris Paul. He had one great season with the Thunder. His value is up than ever. No reason to keep him back. They can actually use this now to where they have a bunch of first-round picks to start drafting. Let go of CP3 and start rebuilding for the Thunder. I would want them to keep Steven Adams, but I think there's been rumors, too much of it, to where they'll let him go. So you can probably do a pair. You got to let go of Chris Paul. Let's see here. They'll put him to the Denver Nuggets. Wow, for Gary Harris, Will Barton, and Monte Morris. You can pull up a first-round pick for Chris Paul, maybe a couple of second-round picks. Ideally, I would trade him probably to the Milwaukee Bucks. You can pull up some young cats on their team, or maybe even pull up Eric Bledsoe on a 3-team trade. But, if you're the Denver Nuggets, you may want to do this for Chris Paul. You can slide Jamal Murray to the 2. You can have Michael Porter Jr. at the 3. You can have, if you're going to re-sign Paul Millsap or not, or you can have him or Jeremy Grant at the 4. And then you got Jokic at the 5. And if you're the Nuggets losing the second round, you want to pretty much move up in the playoffs. So I could see that for them. That'd be a bad pick. The Orlando Magic, Man, they're probably going to have to trade for Eric Gordon. He's just pretty much, he doesn't fit with the team. He's never had that potential that we expected him to be. You can trade him to the Thunder. You can trade him to the Suns. Let's see who they got here. So they're going to trade Darius Garland. Or they're going to get Darius Garland from Mo Bamba. No, sir. I think they need to let go of Aaron Gordon. If they let go of Aaron Gordon, you can pull up a... I'm trying to think here. You can probably pull up possibly a Kelly Oubre Jr. You could probably pull up a... trying to think on the Thunder. Probably some of the young cats. I can't think right now. We're speeding through this. The Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, you got to let go of Tobias Harris. I think you need to let go of Al Horford. I don't know how. They're gonna have to throw in a bunch of picks. I think they need to trade for Ricky Rubio. They need a true point guard on their team. Slide Simmons to the 3 or 4. You could also possibly bring in a Buddy Hield or a LaMarcus Aldridge. Kind of depends overall, but they say they're going to receive Drew Holiday, JJ Redick, and for some picks and Al Horford. If you're the Pelicans, you have cap space. I doubt you use it for Al Horford on the team. Al Horford would be a great pick on the team with Josh Richardson, but the contracts just aren't there. And if you're the Sixers, if you receive Drew Holiday, then that means you're probably going to have to keep Simmons at the 1 and bring back JJ Redick. It's just kind of all over the place. I don't see that going through. I think ideally for the Sixers offense, if they want to go quick, you may want to bring in a Mike D'Antoni if he gets fired. You want to put Simmons to the 4, Tobias Harris at the 3, Joel Embiid at the 5. You have to make a trade for Ricky Rubio at the 1, and then at the 2, if you can either get a trade for Buddy Hield or just like a Wesley Matthews, I think Mike D'Antoni could very switch up that offense, and I would actually love to see him as that coach for the Sixers. The Phoenix Suns, they're in a weird spot. I doubt Devin Booker will request a trade since they almost made the playoffs. But the Suns, I don't have anything for them. There's really nothing you can really do. Marvin Bagley, that's not going to do anything. I still don't even have them making the playoffs, even though they were a game away. The Portland Trailblazers, personally for me, I think you need to trade away. I know they're going to keep CJ McCollum, but if you can make a trade for a Chris Paul to move Damian Lillard at the 2, maybe a LaMarcus Aldridge, or probably bring in a Gordon Hayward, the Blazers are not going to make the conference finals ever again, so I can care less when it comes to it. You could bring in a DeMar DeRozan. That's something I didn't really think about. I thought he was going to be a free agent, but I guess they're saying here if he opts in, which he won't. But if you're giving CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, then bring in DeMar DeRozan or LaMarcus Aldridge in a trade. So I'm cool with that. The Sacramento Kings, I have no idea. Honestly, they should not even think about trades. They should look to move their franchise to Seattle, to be honest. Let's see here. Honestly, they could go for Kyle Kuzma. He doesn't fit with the Lakers, and Bogdan Bogdanovic is looking to pretty much leave in free agency. So they could do a sign and trade. I think that works well for both parties. So actually, I'm cool with that. We got the San Antonio Spurs. I think they need to let go of LaMarcus Aldridge if he opts in, or DeMar DeRozan. I don't see that being the case. But I would say trade away LaMarcus Aldridge. You got to bring in some young cats or picks. Just some flexibility. So they got the Dallas Mavericks who receive, I think it says LaMarcus Aldridge. Yeah. Then they'll receive Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, Justin Jackson, an 18th pick. I don't think the Mavericks would do that. They already got their flexibility in young cats. But who knows? I doubt Dallas has that. All right, the last two, the Toronto Raptors. I think you need to get DeMar DeRozan free agency. They're really needing that small forward who can score for their team since Kawhi left. They're saying here that they're actually going to go and get they're going to get Zubac and Landry Shamet for Serge Ibaka. No, I don't agree with that. The Utah Jazz kind of cap it off here. They're going to receive Gordon Hayward, and they're going to trade